Before you are the two samples that I have made for this pendant. I've made two versions. This was the first version I made. And when I made this version, I made it with the four corners. And I thought it was really pretty. But then I wondered what it would look like if I added the teardrop to the bottom. And to me, that just gives the pendant more elegance. It's just prettier. I just like this one a lot better. So this is the one I'm going to show you how to do today. But if you don't necessarily like the teardrop and you just want the plain, just diamond shaped pendant, you'll know how to do this also. So this is what you're going to learn today. This is the Carnival Pendant. So as you can see, the center of it is what we just finished. It's the Carnival ring from last week. Got the front done, got the back done, and now I'm ready to start. I've threaded my needle with 1 yard of fireline, and I'm going to go ahead and thread on one bead and make that bead my stop bead, and this is a size 11 seed bead. Then I'm going to thread on 2 more 11s. From the front on the pendant, you've got 3 bugle beads. That was our front part. You've got 3 bugle beads on each side. So you're going to take, and on these third bugle beads on all 4 sides is where we're going to actually be making the carnival earring little beaded bead, or from the carnival bracelet also. So I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go through that third bugle bead on the front of the pendant. So that this is what I've got so far. Then I'm going to pick up 3 more 11s. Let those drop down. You're going to skip 2 11s and go through the third 11, and I'm working back towards the other direction. And pull. Now when you pull, you want the 2 beads here to be sitting side by side, and that is the little tricky part. There we go. So at this point, you can see my beadwork is kind of far away from the pendant. So I'm just going to hold and tug that up so that it snugs up to where it needs to be. I'm going to pick up 1 bugle bead, and I'm going to go through the 2 11s. Not the stop bead, but the 2 11s. And pull this on through. And I'm just going to kind of hold this stop bead out of the way. And let's see if I can't zoom in here a little bit for you. Here we go. I'm going to pick up 1 11. I'm going to come back down through the 11 right before the bugle. And when you pull, now those top 2 11s should be sitting on top of each other. Come down through the first bugle, which is the third one here on the pendant, and then up through the second one, which is going to be the one on the right. Then I'm going to go through 2 11s. So I'm going to go through the 2 that are right below that stop bead, and then I'm going to come through the 11 that I just added. Thread on 1 11 and go through the bugle bead. Thread on 1 11 and go through the last 11. I'm going to work back in the other direction, so I'm going to pick up 1 11 and I'm going to go through that 11 sticking up right before the bugle. I'm going to pick up 1 bugle and I'm going to go through the 2 11s here on the end. Now this is where my odd count peyote comes in, so I'm going to pick up 1 11. I'm going to come right back down through the 11 right before my bugles. Now I'm going to go down through the bugle on the left, up through the bugle on the right, and then through the 2 11s above it. And then down through the 11 that I added just a second ago. So far, you have 1, 2, 3 bugle beads. And if you remember from the earrings and then the bracelet, we have to have 6 total bugles. So I'm going to pick up 111 and go through the bugle. $111, and I'm going to come down through the last 11 sticking up. $111, and I'm going to go through the 11 right before the bugle. Pick up 1 bugle bead and go through the 2 11s. This is where the odd count peyote comes in, so you got to pick up 111 and go right back down through the 11 right before the bugle bead. Go through the bugle on the right or the left. Go through the bugle on the right and then up through the 2 11s right above it. Down through the 11 you just added. Pick up 111, go through the bugle, pick up 111, and go through the last bead sticking up on the row. Then you want 111 and go up through the 11. 1 bugle and go up through the 2 11s. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got to do one more turnaround because we got to have 6 bugles. So I'm coming out of my new 11, pick up 111 and go through the bugle. Pick up 111 and go through the last 11. Pick up 111 and go through the one I just added, and then thread on a bugle and go through the 2 11s. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bugles. I've got to do my turnaround. So I pick up 111 and go through the 11 right before the bugles. Through the 11 on the left, the 11 on the right, and then through 2 11s right above it. Then come through the new 11, and then 111, go through the bugle, and then 111 and go through the last 11. So now you've got a strip sticking off of your center. Pull off your stop bead, and now you're ready to fold the piece in half and start the connection. So right now my thread is coming out of this bottom bead that's on the right. I'm going to come to this bottom bead that's on the left down here, and I'm going to go through that bead and pull. Then I'm going to go through the next bead on the right, Now I'm going to go through the bugle on the left. Now the bugle on the left is going to be the one that's actually on the base, so it's that connection bugle. Then I'm going to go through the 11 on the right. And then my next one is this top 11 right here that my tail is coming out of. So I've got to go up through the bead right there. Now, just like the beaded bead, I'm going to come down through that top bead and then back up through the same little bead. So that now, when you've got that done, you've got your beaded bead attached to the centerpiece. So I'm going to take a needle and I'm going to get rid of this short thread, and then we're going to add the embellishments on each side of the beaded bead. Now I'm ready for the embellishments. I'm going to be using my 3mm Bicones and my size 15 seed beads. I'm going to pick up one 3mm and 3 15s. I'm going to let those drop down, and I'm going to skip the 3 15s and go back down through the same 3mm and the 11 right below it. And then you want to come up through the next 11. You're going to pick up a 3mm and 3 15s. Let these beads drop down. Skip the 3mm and then, or skip the 3 15s and go back down through the 3mm and the 11 right below it. Make sure that those little beads go into a little pea coat. Then go up through the next 11 along the top. You're going to go all the way around the top doing your embellishments. You're going to stitch down to the bottom doing your embellishments, and then you're going to tie this thread off. Once you have the beaded bead completed on this side, then you're going to do the same on all 3 other sides, being sure to connect at the 3rd bugle on each side. And you'll have to be careful, because the more beaded beads you get on here, the easier it's going to be for your thread to get wrapped around some of these little embellishments. So be very careful about that. But otherwise, go ahead and do those other 3 embellishments. I have all 4 beaded beads completed. This is what the front of the pendant looks like, and this is what the back of the pendant looks like. So now all that's left is to add the bell and the sides. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and thread on 1 stop bead onto a yard of fireline. Thread on 1 3mm, and you're going to go through the tube, so completely through the tube of one of the beads. It doesn't matter where you start, which tube you start with. I'm going to pick up 1 3mm, 1 15, 1 6mm, 1 15, and 1 3mm. And I'm going to go through the very next tube and pull. And when you pull, you want to make sure that those 3mm pull up into the beaded tubes. Okay, so you don't want them sticking out. They need to be pulled in like this one is. So that way your beaded tube will be like you need it. Going to do that again. So 1 3mm, 1 15, 1 6mm, 1 15, and 1 3mm. Go straight through the next tube and pull. And again, make sure that the beads don't get caught up in the embellishments, and make sure that they get pulled in. Thread on 1 3mm, 1 15, 1 6mm, 1 15, and 1 3mm. And you are going to go through the next tube. And again, make sure that the beads don't get caught up in any of the embellishments. So I've got my 3 points so far, and I'm working on this last point. So I'm going to pull this stop bead back just a little bit, and I'm going to pick up a 3mm, a 15, a 6mm, and a 15. And I'm going to go through the 3mm that I had in that tube, and then through the next tube. And when you go up through the next tube, you want to try and go through the 3mm bicone there on the other side of the tube. That's the one that's right before the 6mm. And you're going to pull and make sure that everything's where it should be. And so now, this is a very imperative step. You want to go through all the beads again here in these 4 corners, going through the tubes, and really get these nice and tight and get them pulled taut, and then tie this thread off. This is what your piece should look like once it's reinforced and all your threads have been cut. You'll want to take a new piece of thread, about 1 yard long, and you'll want to make a beaded bead just like we did on each of these 4 corners. If you need to see how to make the beaded bead individually, go back to the Carnival bracelet video. Once you make the beaded bead, you want to be exiting out of any of the bugle beads in the center. What we're going to be doing is adding our little bell for the pendant, and it's going to connect to that top 6mm on one corner. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take and pick up 3 15s. And I'm going to go through the 6mm on one corner. I'm going to pick up 3 more 15s. And I'm going to come back through the same bugle bead that I went through so that it makes a circle. And when I pull, those will pull down and make the bell. You'll want to reinforce this connection once more by going back through these beads. Then stitch to the bottom to come out of the 6mm opposite where you added the bell. My thread is exiting out of the bottom 6mm. I have my bell here at the top, and now I'm ready to add the teardrop. I've threaded on 4 15s, 1 6mm, and then I'm going to thread on my teardrop. And I want to thread it going down through the bead. Then 3 more 11s. Take the needle and go back up through the drop and the 11 right above it. Pick up 4 15s. And you're going to go back through the 6mm so that when you pull the thread, the teardrop will center under that 6mm. And now you're ready to tie this thread off, or if you have enough thread, you can reinforce this one more time, then tie it off. So here is the completed piece. This is the purple Carnival, this is the brown Carnival, and then we'll also have the blue Carnival. As you can see, it really looks great with the bracelet and the earrings that we've already completed. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make the Carnival Pendant. Like I said, I may take a week off and then we'll come back for one last video where I'll show you how to do the Carnival necklace that will finish out the Carnival set. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. We will have the pattern for sale at offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com, and the pattern is very thorough. It's 81 steps, but it shows you how to make the beaded bead, how to do the center part, the whole 9 yards. So it's very, very thorough. Also, we'll have kits for the purple, the brown, and the blue Carnival Pendant kit. And again, they'll be available on our website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com, and on our Etsy store. And don't forget, while you're there, my new book comes out on Friday. And you can go ahead and pre-order your copy or wait till Friday, but it's $20 and it's got 13 really great step-by-step projects. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.